This summer, I allowed my garden to become overgrown with weeds. That was intentional, at least in part. I didn't plant many summer vegetables this year because I was away from home for extended periods. However, I'm now preparing my fall garden, and the weeds have been serving a purpose during the summer months. Today I'm removing most of them, and while I do so, I want to explain 3 reasons why I've let them grow, and why I'm doing this now, just a couple of weeks before the weather starts to cool down. The goal is to gain the benefits without letting these plants go to seed and create problems for future seasons. The first reason is that weeds provide shade for my other plants. My soil is heavy clay, and in the heat of summer it can dry and harden quickly. The canopy from taller weeds helps keep the soil surface cooler and reduces evaporation. This creates a more stable microclimate for any plants that are still growing, protecting them from heat stress and conserving soil moisture. The second reason is that weeds act as nutrient accumulators. Many have deep taproots that reach into lower soil layers, drawing up minerals that would otherwise be unavailable to shallow-rooted crops. Those taproots also physically improve the soil. In my case, they help open pathways in compacted clay, increasing aeration and water infiltration, benefits that remain even after the weeds are removed. I have my clippers with me today, so as I weed, I'm clipping off the main part but leaving the roots in the ground. The exception to this would be grasses. If it's a grass, I try to remove the whole plant. The third reason may be the most important, and that's that allowing weeds to remain for part of the season supports the soil food web. Healthy soil contains a complex network of organisms. These include bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, and others, all of which play a role in nutrient cycling and plant health. The living roots of weeds feed the organisms with exudates, while the canopy helps maintain moisture and organic matter on the surface. By avoiding bare soil, I've kept this underground ecosystem active and resilient, ready to support my fall crops. My garden wasn't just filled with weeds, however. It was also filled with lettuce that I'd let go to seed and onions that had done the same. Looking at the seed heads, I could tell that this was a great time to harvest those. On the left side of the garden here, you can see a big patch of sunflowers. Those are growing really nicely, and I wasn't quite ready to cut those out. I'd like for those to continue to grow, make big heads with lots of seeds, and then I'll cut those down and use the green matter for mulch and the seeds to feed the chickens. You could see me standing up against that weed there. I'm just over 6 feet tall, and that weed was taller than me. As I gear up for a fall garden, I'm getting pretty excited for what I'm going to plant. I've been experimenting with a type of lettuce called Jericho that's really great in summertime, really bolt resistant, and great for the dry, hot area that I live in. I'll be planting some of that along with some black-seeded Simpson lettuce and more onions. I've also got some spinach seed in the mix, but historically I haven't had great success with spinach. I'd like to get better at it though. In addition to the seeds I'll be planting for a fall crop, I've got some plants that already exist. That would be my perennial kale, a variety called kaleidoscope that I bought online, as well as Chinese chives. I really like these chives, and I've been separating them and hope to propagate them throughout the entire veggie garden. A little bit on the background of this veggie garden. We moved into this house in October of 2021. And over the autumn and going into the winter of 2022, I got really interested in no-till gardening. We had a bunch of cardboard boxes lying around since we had just moved. And so I ordered some compost and laid those cardboard boxes cut out right on top of the grass. It was a grass lawn all on this west side of the house. Now it's surrounded by wood chips, but that actually didn't come until a couple of years later. The first couple of years were really tough, and nothing really grew very well except for lettuce. I tried all the normal crops, zucchini, tomato, spinach, etc., and most of them were not very successful. and a common feature of all of them is that the plants and the fruit would usually be very small. So I'm in the 5th growing year, and actually with each successive year, things have progressively gotten better. Were I to do it over again, I would probably do the initial till up front, even though that would damage whatever soil life is there. In the long run, it would have been a lot better for the garden, I think. But at any rate, I think we're at a good place now, and I expect to see really good harvest moving forward. One of the biggest mysteries I have yet to solve is how to grow cabbage. I love cabbage, especially the Chinese-style Napa cabbage. I've tried heritage varieties, I've tried hybrid varieties, but nothing seems to work for me. I've tried an early spring crop, I've tried a late summer crop, and it seems like the heads just don't want to form. I attribute that to a short, cool growing season, as well as just a lack of water. I think overall, I've learned that I need to water a lot more. Another observation I have about where I put this veggie garden is just how much sunlight it actually gets. It sits on the west side of my property, and it really does get sun from morning until late afternoon during the summertime. So right now, I really am strategizing on how I can introduce shade that's not overbearing, and also other types of mulch. I have a couple of Siberian elm starts that I plan on planting on the east side of this garden, and as they grow up, they'll be pollarded and hopefully give this garden a couple more hours in the morning of shade. I'm also thinking about elderberry and how I could bring elderberry and maybe even fig into the picture to provide more dappled shade throughout the day. As I remove the weeds, I add them to my compost pile so the nutrients they've gathered will be returned to the garden rather than lost. The weeding this morning took me about 40 minutes. The garden is now prepared for planting. The soil has benefited from the weeds. Now I don't have to worry about the weeds dropping seeds, and I'm all set and ready for a fall planting. Thanks for watching.